Hey guys, today we have Robert Russell on the show, and we're really excited because we've been doing a lot of Medicare training, and Robert's going to share. He's a very successful insurance agent and trainer. He has a bunch of agents that he trains, and we're really excited to have him touch on some new topics for us, which are calling for life insurance and then cross-selling for car insurance and homeowners. So this is kind of a new line for us that we haven't gone down this road. So that's why we're really excited to have Robert aboard today. Robert, give us a little bit of background about yourself and how you started in the industry.
Well, thank you first for having me on here. I'm pretty excited about this. I've been using sales dollars for about 2 or 3 years now. But to answer your question, I started 32 years ago. I was 23 years old. I got talked into it. I thought that insurance agents went knocking on doors. I told the guy, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want nothing to do with insurance. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, we don't go knocking on doors. We call and set up appointments, then go to the appointment. I said, oh, well, I can do that. So that's how I started in insurance. I got on a rotary dial phone back in 1985, and my prospects were the phone book. I called straight out of the phone book, cold calls.
Wow.
And so I've been cold calling for the last 32 years, and that's what I do still.
Wow. Now I know you're in some other markets, and we're going to have you on about with those other industries, but we wanted to concentrate on insurance because we know you have a big following for insurance. So we know you're a diehard sales dialers client, and you recruit agents, and they're running sales dialers as well. What does a typical day look like, or what should? Now, Robert, we're gearing this webinar towards new agents starting out, or an agent that can get some advice from a veteran agent like yourself. So what should a typical day look like for an agent for prospecting?
Well, I'm going to give agents the same spiel that I give experienced agents, because really an experienced agent has nothing but just years behind him. Getting on the phone, it takes a different kind of person to do it. You have to have very thick skin. So I tell new and experienced agents, you have to have a system. You have to have a proven system in place, and you've got to follow it every day. If you go off that system, then you're starting all over. So my typical day starts I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll go work out, and then I'm on the phone at 9 o'clock a.m. From 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock, I'm calling people, doing cold calls, asking them if I can send them a quote on life insurance. That's the whole goal, is only to see if I can send them quotes. I'm sorry, from 9 o'clock, I do follow-up calls from the other calls that I make from 10 to 4. So let me back up. 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock is calling people to see if I can send them quotes on life insurance. 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock is doing the follow-up calls from yesterday. Then I finish my follow-up calls that I didn't finish from 9 to 10. I finish those from 4 to 5. So 9 to 10 is follow-up calls, 10 to 4 is cold calls, 4 to 5 is follow-up calls that I didn't finish. If I don't finish the follow-up calls, what's wonderful about sales dollars is it will tell me where I left off, so that tomorrow morning when I start my follow-up calls again, I can pick up from where I left off, and I'll have to call the same people back.
Yeah, so we were talking about your process a little bit before we started, and what you do, correct me if I'm wrong please, is that you do your cold calling, asking if you can send them over some quotes on life insurance, and then you send them over those quotes, and then when you said that your follow-up calls, those follow-up calls are after you've sent that quote over, is that correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
So basically what most insurance agents are taught is they're taught to make a call, try to sell them on the phone, and move on to the next person. Well, the people that are doing that, there are people that are successful, but they will also find that their lapse rate is very high. My persistency is 99.9%. And it's been that way for 30 years, because I have to establish credibility first. I have to develop a relationship with these people first. I think the problem that most insurance agents are having is that number one, they don't have a system. Number two, they're trying to sell them on the first call. Well, you're a telemarketer, dudes. Nobody knows you. They've never seen you before. You just have a good voice on the phone. You have to establish credibility. So what you do to establish that is you call them to send out a quote, let them see that you're going to do exactly what you say you do. Let them see your email signature with your website so that they can investigate you after they get the quote. They're going to be thrown off that you didn't try to sell them over the phone, because after they investigate you, they're done and they forget about you till you make that follow-up call the next day. Now you've proven that you really are somebody because they saw your website, and then you can do your follow-up calls, and it makes your life a whole lot easier on that second call because they've checked you out. Now you have credibility. Now they'll probably buy from you.
So when you're calling, Robert, what are the demographics you're calling? Who are the people? What types of income? Certain ages? I mean, or is it just strictly 100% cold calling?
It is 100% cold calling, but it's only the self-employed people.
Self-employed people.
It's self-employed people who answer their own phone and who make their own appointments. So let me give you a rundown on who that is. That's going to be a realtor. That's going to be a loan officer. It's going to be a roofer. It's not going to be a dentist because he has a secretary who's paid to keep you away. It's not going to be an accountant. It's going to be only industries where they answer their own phone. I've got a guy who used to be a truck driver, and he asked me, he said, is anybody calling truck drivers? I said, no, but that's interesting. So this guy, what he does is he calls people from 7 p.m. until 4 a.m. He's calling truck drivers while they're on the road. I mean, think about it. If you're on the road and it's 12 o'clock at night, you're trying to stay awake. If somebody calls you, you're going to be so damn happy to talk to anybody.
Oh my. Now that is some awesome advice right there. How true is that? That is so true.
Well, think about it. If you're a truck driver, you got to talk to somebody. Why not call truck drivers?
I'll bet they talk all night, because when I'm tired and I'm driving, I'll just sit and chatter with my wife or, anybody. I'll just talk and talk and talk just because I'm trying to stay awake.
Exactly. So this guy is making a killing calling truck drivers. What's beautiful about it is when he asked me, he said, who should I call? I said, well, before insurance, what did you do? He said, I was a truck driver. I said, dude, that's it. You can speak their language. So what I'm doing personally, I'm calling realtors because I'm also a licensed realtor. If they get into a conversation about option period or encumbrance, I can speak their language. So third piece of advice for insurance agents is if you're trying to figure out who to call somebody that you have knowledge of their industry. I talked to a lady one time and she said, I want to call cosmetologists. I said, what kind of knowledge do you have with cosmetologists? She said, well, I get my hair cut every month. I said, well, what else do you do with cosmetology? She goes, that's it. I said, no, you shouldn't call cosmetologists. You know nothing about their industry. Call the industry that you have knowledge of before you got into insurance. So I would say make sure that you can talk their talk, because if it's not 100% insurance call, at least you can speak their own language, which builds credibility.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. I was going to say that the comment I was going to make was, I'll bet when you can talk their talk, it builds rapport and it builds credibility.
Well, what I did when I first started doing this is the way I have now over 160 agents all over the United States that are under me. I created niche websites. So the first website I created was real estate insurance plans. So there's a insurance agent per state that's calling realtors. I picked Texas because that's who I call. So I call the realtor and I tell them, hey, this is Robert Russell. I'm the broker for real estate insurance plans for the state of Texas. Call and see if I can give you a quote on your life insurance. So that website filled up, one person per state. Then I set up another website for cosmetologists, cosmetology insurance plans. And so when these people call, they're calling on behalf of a niche market. And now I have 6 websites for 6 different industries.
So you have set up websites. This is interesting. You've set up websites for the markets you're calling to. And I bet when you send over quotes and things like that, your signature displays for that website. Am I correct?
That's exactly right.
And so whenever you're calling to rather than a generic insurance agent that might sell lots of stuff, if you make yourself specialized in a market,
that's
if you
it.
make yourself specialized in a market, and the lead realizes that you're specialized in that market because he sees your website that has insurance for realtors or whatever it is, then that's huge because you're making yourself stand out from the competition. Isn't that right?
That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started insurance, I was going up against the National Association for Self-Employed, and I was calling on groups to sell group insurance. And I kept getting these people that had the National Association for Self-Employed. And I was thinking, what in the world is this company? These people think that they have wonderful insurance with the National Association of Self-Employed, but it really wasn't anything special. They were going after a certain niche. And that's why I developed the idea of creating my own niches where my insurance people call a certain niche. Realtors, cosmetologists, white collar professionals. I mean, that's why I have 6 different websites so that insurance people can pick what industry they want to call.
You know, we have a product called Sales Data List where you can pick certain demographics. It's a lead company we own, but you can narrow it. You can target your list based on whether they're realtors or they're cosmetologists or truck drivers, and you can pull lists, and you can pull that list from Sales Data List. And also based on certain ages, incomes, things like that, tons of other filters. But that big thing is narrowing down to, you can narrow down to those industries that you want to call to. And then there's obviously an option that you can scrub it against the DNC. But we've also added in Sales Data List, we've added a lot of cell phone numbers and emails as well in there. So what we do is we have 2 developers that work on Sales Data Lists at all times, making that database better. So we're always trying to match cell numbers and email addresses into those contacts. So, we do have a lot of insurance agents. Well, that's probably the biggest market for us is the insurance agents for Sales Data List. Anyway, I got off on a tangent.
Well, I think that's great to do because as you know, with sales dollars, being able to send a follow-up email after the phone call is very important, because even if you leave a voicemail, if you send them a follow-up email that says, hey, I just missed you on the phone, please call me when you get a chance. That's that extra contact that you're providing to them, again, to establish credibility that a telemarketer does not have.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the life. So you go in with the life. So you're selling life insurance to realtors, cosmetologists. Just give us an example of that initial call that you give. I mean, I'm sure it's not something that's going to be, it might be, I don't know, but let's just give us an example of how that script might work, how you break that ice.
Okay, so you're the realtor.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Hello, is this Matt?
Yeah, hey, this is Matt.
Matt, this is Robert Russell. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Matt, I'm the broker for real estate insurance plans for the state of Texas. I was calling to see if I can give you a quote on your life insurance.
Okay. I don't know if I need life insurance.
Exactly. That's why I called. Most people don't know. Who do you have your insurance with?
You're talking about life insurance or?
Life insurance. Yeah, life insurance.
I don't have any right now.
Okay. If you were to get a life insurance, how much do you think you would want to get?
Oh, I don't know. I just had a child. He's a 2-year-old, so I don't know, maybe 500,000. I don't know, something like that. I don't know how much really I need.
Okay. Do you have a time for me to ask you a couple of questions so that I can get some better information to send you quotes?
Sure.
Okay. So what's your annual income?
I make 75,000 a year.
All right. So 75,000, and the rule of thumb is to replace at least 8 years worth of income.
Okay.
You agree with that? You okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if that's what you say. So you're saying 75,000 times 8, right?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
That comes out to be, now don't freak out at these numbers because it's not going to be as much as you think it is. So that puts you at 600,000 there. Is your house paid off?
Yes.
So you have no house payment.
No house payment.
That's awesome. Okay. How old are your kids?
I have a 2-year-old.
Okay. So it'll be 16 years before that 2-year-old goes to college. Do you plan to pay for college?
Yeah, so absolutely we plan to pay for college.
How much do you think college is going to be when your 2-year-old is 18?
What, maybe 150,000? Is that about right? I haven't even thought about it.
You tell me what you think that number is going to be. I'm not going to
give you 150,000.
All right, so that's 150. Do you have any car loans?
Yes.
How much are those worth? What's the payoff on both?
Probably say 40,000.
40,000 on both?
Yes.
Okay. And any major credit card debt that we need to get rid of in case something happens to you?
No.
All right. So now we're at 600 plus 150. That puts you at 750 plus 40 is 790. About 800,000.
Okay.
I'm going to send you a quote on 800,000. How old are you?
I am 52.
Do you smoke?
No.
Okay. Any health conditions? Are you taking any medication?
No.
Other than medicine, what medicines, other than vitamins, what medicines are you taking?
None.
Okay. So no meds. All right. And you're 52. And give me your email address.
It is xyz@gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to send you some quotes. You take a look at them. If you have any questions, give me a call.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you why I did that in that order. Most people that we're talking to already have life insurance. It's very rare that you're talking to a 52-year-old that does not have life insurance.
Sure.
It's also very rare that the house is paid for. So finding out and letting you give me the numbers instead of me telling you what I think you should have validates the sale for you because it's your idea.
I see.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
So 800,000 is the number that you came up with because you told me 600,000, 150, and 40. You're 52. You're not taking any medications. If you notice that I asked you twice what medicines you were taking. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I asked you, then I reworded it to ask you again.
Why?
Because most people don't think of medicine as medicine. So I said, are you taking any medication? You said no. Then I asked you, other than vitamins, what medicines are you taking? You'd be surprised how many people say, oh, well, I'm taking high blood pressure, cholesterol medicine, and they give you this whole list. So I asked them twice, but I reworded it because I want to make sure they're not taking any medicine. And then I asked your email address. That's it. I'm going to send them quotes. It's going to have my email signature. This is Robert J. Russell, broker, realestateinsuranceplans.com, my telephone number. They're going to get the quotes with 150 different companies. I'm going to overwhelm them with quotes. They're going to look at these quotes and go, oh my God, look how many quotes he sent me. And they're not going to shop me. Because if I send them 2 companies, they're going to go, I wonder what company number 3 looks like. So I send out 150 quotes. And then the next day, the conversation goes like this.
Let's do it.
Hello, Matt.
Yes.
Hey, it's Robert Russell. Do you remember me?
Yeah. I talked to you on the phone a couple days ago.
It was yesterday. We talked about the life insurance quotes. Did you get a chance to look at those?
Yes, I did.
How did you feel about them?
Well, it was a lot of quotes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which,
I,
well,
I, I I don't know. It was kind of a little bit confusing, but I looked at them. There were some good prices there.
now what I sent you was a 10-year, 20-year, and a 30-year term. Which one of those did you like the best?
For me, probably the 20-year.
Okay. Why did you like that the best?
Well, I mean, I'm 53, so 20 years, my kids will be out of college, they'll be established. I'm just thinking 20 years is a good time frame in my life.
Okay. And you noticed that it was XYZ company, right?
Yep.
Okay. Guess how long it takes to do this application over the phone?
I have no clue.
7 minutes. You have 7 minutes right now?
Yeah. Is it really going to be 7 minutes?
7 minutes, unless you ask me questions and put me over.
I like your straightforwardness. I have 7 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, so I've got your name, I've got your telephone number. I'm going to go through and ask you questions. We're done. Actually, it takes about 6 minutes. I tell them 7. Do you have any other questions for me? Because I'm fixing to send this application off to the company right now.
Am I going to be approved?
I don't know. Here's what's going to happen. My case manager is going to call you. They're going to verify the questions that I just asked you. They're going to ask you some health questions. Then they're going to call you back to set up a time for a paramed to come out, take your blood. You'll probably have to pee in the bottle, do all that kind of stuff. They'll send it off to the insurance company. If you if you answered any health questions, they might get your medical records from the doctor, and it should take about 2 to 3 weeks to get you approved.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Except how am I going to, they're going to contact me to get that exam done?
Yep, they'll set all that
It'll be
up.
on my time, right?
Right, and so if you notice, I didn't ask for any money up front. We don't do any money up front. Now, some people like to do that. I prefer to wait and make sure that what I quoted you is exactly what it should come out at. So when it's all approved, my case manager will call you and they'll get the banking information to tell you exactly what it's going to be. But the numbers that I gave you should be pretty close unless they find out from your medical records that you have something that you didn't tell me.
Well, I hope it's good to know if I have something that they're going to tell me.
Yeah. If it comes up, it'll show up from the medical records. That's where it always shows up.
Okay. All right. Well, that was pretty easy.
Yeah. So hey, if you need anything, I'm going to send you a follow-up email. If you have any questions, call me, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right. Have a good day.
So that's pretty easy. You're not going to see them in person. You are just doing it a two-step process.
Well, actually, sometimes it takes more than 2.
Sure, but that's the goal.
It's a 2-step process, but it doesn't happen like that all the time.
Sure.
Here's the thing that people need to realize by using sales dollars. I haven't been to an insurance appointment in over 10 years. What you see me dressed in, I'm dressed up because we're doing this video. I wear a t-shirt and shorts every day. And as I was telling you before we got on this deal, there's a lot of times that I take my laptop and I sit on the beach and I make phone calls using sales dollars to people while I'm sitting on the beach making phone calls. The beach is actually my office. This is just kind of a backup for rain and all that other stuff.
Man, brother, you've got a good life.
Somebody's got to do it.
That's awesome. So let's get into some other stuff now. I want to have some questions. What is the biggest objection you get, and how do you overcome that, if there is a biggest one?
For selling life insurance?
Yeah.
Well, and I've got these on YouTube. I've got my training videos.
We're going to go over all that, your videos. We'll do that at the end because I want to make sure people know how to contact you and listen to your stuff.
One of the biggest, I hear all the same objections, and I've heard the same objections for the last 30 years. They don't change. What people need to understand is that cold calling is actually easy the more calls you make, because you're going to hear the same stuff over and over and over. In fact, it's so boring what I do. I've got two monitors right here. One is Facebook right here to my left, and the other one is my emails, so that I can mentally take calling people hearing the same stupid things over and over, which are, I'm insurance poor, I've already got insurance, I've got all the insurance I need, my stupid brother-in-law from Kansas sells insurance, I got it with him. I mean, the same objections come up all the time. My answer to all of those objections is exactly, that's why I called. Who's your insurance with? You address the objection, you agree with them, go straight into the next question to find out who their insurance is with.
Now,
Don't
why
try
do
to
go
don't
ahead?
try to tell them everything you know about insurance. They don't care.
Right, right.
What I
So,
tell my agents is to paint them into a corner with questions. If you're not asking questions, you are not in control of the conversation. Period.
so what are some of the questions that you asked one, who's your insurance with, but what are some more that you would ask them?
Well, you did. You were a prime target. You said I don't need insurance, or you said something. I can't remember what you said. Alrighty, I don't need insurance or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I said to you exactly. That's why I called. Most people don't need insurance. Who's your insurance with? Or if you say something about I can't afford it, exactly. That's why I called to see if I can save you some money. You
Ah.
can give me any objection, and I'll tell you exactly what I would say.
All right,
Give
all
me
right, all right. So let's
any
do
of
this.
them.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's do
All
this.
right.
All right. So, because I know some of the basic objections.
Give them to
So
me.
I have to speak with my wife.
Exactly. That's why I called, to send you quotes that you have information to show her.
Okay. I have too much insurance.
Exactly. That's why I called, to see if I can give you a better deal on what you already have.
Let's keep going. This is awesome stuff. Um, I I have my insurance through work.
Exactly. That's why I called. Do you have a contract with your employer that they can never fire you?
Um, Money is an issue. I don't know if I can afford it.
Exactly. That's why I called, because my goal is to not make you spend a whole lot of money and get the best deal I can with 150 companies that I'm going to shop it with.
It's good stuff. I think, and
Did
everybody
you
is
notice
getting
that I'm not reading this stuff anywhere?
right,
Because I'm hearing the same crap I hear all the time. Same
right.
stuff every day.
Right, right. Well, there's good information here. It really is. Because you have that objection, you're agreeing with them, and so I mean, it's really good stuff. So let's talk about some, because I want to get a couple other things before we get going in some of your stuff, and I want to talk about what you do, your training, and how people can contact you. Cross selling. So when you go in with life, you cross sell what next?
Well, after
And
they're
how
approved,
does it work?
okay,
Yeah.
to make sure that they're approved for life insurance, I'm not going to cross sell anything until I can get the life insurance approved and done. Now they see that I'm reliable, that I've done what I say I'm going to do. I'm going to call them now after the policy has been either mailed to them or emailed to them, and I'm going to call them and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, Matt,
Yes.
woohoo! You got approved for your life insurance.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. So, hey, I wanted to ask you, who do you have your car insurance with? Because we do car insurance too.
Allstate.
Okay. Do you have a copy of your deck page that shows your exact coverage that you can send to me?
I'm sure I do, but not. I don't know where it is right now.
Okay. Whenever you can find it, send it to me. Because what I want to do is I want to shop it, because I've got a bunch of companies that I can shop it with, and I might can save you some money on your car insurance. And if the discount is good enough, I can probably bundle it with your homeowner's insurance and save you money on your car and your home.
Okay. Um, Here I go. But I already have insurance.
I know.
I already have home and life. I already have home and auto.
Exactly. So I want to save you money, Matt. I saved you money on
Oh.
your life insurance.
So how many? So you sent me a bunch of quotes with my life. You gonna send me the same with the home and the car?
No, it won't be 150 because there's not that many companies in the state of Texas or Florida that have that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it based on your driving record first of all, because that's what they're going to look at, and then I'm going to shop it with the top companies that are A or A plus rated companies. Because there's a lot of B plus rated companies that you don't want to go with because you will not like me if you have a claim through those companies.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Um, well, I'm all about saving money. So if you can save me some bucks, okay, I'll see what I can dig up and find that deck page for you.
Okay. Yeah, just email it to me and I'm going to compare apples to apples and then I'll send you the quotes and then you can look at them and we can go from there.
Okay. So that's how you bundle. That's how you bundle car and home. Is that right? Just
That's
after
right.
you sell.
Right.
Any other tips and techniques for that for cross-selling?
Here's the wonderful thing. When you're calling self-employed people, and this is why I love self-employed people, is because they've got to do it all themselves. They don't have their employer to depend on. They've got to do it all. So, I mean, my website, if they go to my website, insurancepriceright.com, they can see that I offer everything. They're going to go crazy with the information that I can offer them. You've got disability insurance to cover a loss of income that'll cover them in case they can't work. We can do group insurance on their employees because if he's self-employed, if he has employees, I can talk to him about group insurance. There's so much you can do once you've got that self-employed person. A lot of people are scared to talk about life insurance first because it's the hardest thing to sell. Okay, well, if it's the hardest thing to sell, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Then we can move on to the easy stuff.
I see. So, so some markets that we've seen that have been successful for self-employed. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to name some markets. You named realtors. Also, there's chiropractors. Do you call chiropractors?
Try not to because they don't answer their own phone.
Ah, okay.
Secretary, remember, gatekeeper.
Right, right. So in sales data lists, you can filter by size of employees. So it's like 1 to 4. Typically, what agents have told us is that the lower the number of employees, the higher the chance that the owner will answer the phone. Do you see that as true?
I would agree with that, but what if there's 2 employees and you got a secretary and a chiropractor?
Good point. So
Guess
who
what
are
her
the
job? Guess what her job is?
right? Because they get phone calls all day, right?
Exactly.
Right. And do you just try to avoid those types, right? You avoid
Well,
those.
there's ways to get around that too, and I'm almost afraid to tell this over a webinar because
No, 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 no. You can't say that and not tell us. No, 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 no. You can't say that.
I'm not as bold on the phone as I used to be, but I tried this one time because somebody told me about that. They said, try it, see if it works. So I got a gatekeeper, and she answers the phone. I said, and I was calling for this to say Matthew Fitzgerald. So instead of asking for Mr. Fitzgerald, which is a huge mistake, never ask for the owner by his Mr. Fitzgerald. Big mistake. Ask him by his first name. Is Matthew there? So the gatekeeper says, can I ask who's calling? I said, sure. She said, can you tell me your name? Sure. Now she's kind of getting annoyed. She's asking questions. I'm answering them. I'm not doing any more information than what she's asking. Can I ask what this is about? Yes, my wife is pregnant. She goes, oh, let me go get him. So she goes and gets him. He gets on the phone. He goes, this is Matthew Fitzgerald. I said, this is Robert Russell. He goes, what is this about your wife being pregnant? I said, man, I'm just so excited. I'm telling everybody. But let me tell you why I called. And I went into my deal. And I couldn't believe it worked and he didn't get pissed off at me.
So what do you do? Is that something you do all the time, or is that something you
No,
just make? Yeah.
I did that 20 years ago. I haven't done that since.
Okay.
I don't have the kahunas to do it now. That's why I don't like calling gatekeepers, because her job is to keep you away.
So who are some other markets besides you went through that you'll call? You said truckers, realtors,
Loan officers,
loan officers.
roofers usually answer their own phone.
What about electricians?
Electricians will answer their own phone. The problem that you have with electricians is that they're a part of a union and their benefits are taken care of by the union.
Okay, so who else? Who else can we think of here? I was naming off some. Massage therapists? No?
Yeah, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Anybody that has any sort of cosmetology type license, nail techs, barbers, cosmetologists, those sort of industries.
Okay, cool. That's great stuff, those markets to hit, because, if you can avoid those gatekeepers, it's just one less obstacle, right? It's just one less obstacle. And if you have, let's just say you make, what Sales Dialers makes a tons of calls and that helps out. But let's just say if you get the gatekeeper half of the time on all your calls, those numbers add up. And so you're trying to get overcome those get through that to that gate from the gatekeeper. And, a lot of your calls are going to be unsuccessful. You might get some tough chick who just isn't going to give out that information. And so you just try to avoid it at all possible and concentrate on those markets. But what happens if you sell in different states? So you're going to run out of leads eventually to call.
No.
No,
never.
You're gonna call different states then?
Of course.
I see.
I'll give an example. When I started calling realtors, I went to the Texas Real Estate Commission and downloaded 207,000 licensed realtors. Then I was curious. I said, I wonder how many cosmetologists are out there. There was 420,000 cosmetologists in the state of Texas. I will die before I call all those people.
Yeah, that's a lot, because you have a lot of callbacks. They're not home, all that stuff. So,
and even if you run through all those numbers, and let's just say I call 200,000 realtors.
Yeah.
If I call them back, you think they're going to remember that I called them 2 years ago?
Right.
No.
Right.
Call them again.
Right.
And with y'all set up now, with a different number showing up on caller ID, they'll never track it.
Right. You're talking about local presence where it puts another caller up.
Right.
You use that feature, Robert?
I love it. It's awesome. In fact, what I was doing before is I was telling my agents to go to the App Store and getting free apps to use as a caller ID number. I took that out of my whole deal when y'all did the local presence on there. It's great. I mean, it's the greatest thing y'all ever added. Y'all should have done it a long time ago.
Well, appreciate that. All right, so let's summarize this. And so a lot of your day is spent prospecting, follow-up calls. Pretty much almost all your day is new calls and follow-up calls. That's about, from what you're telling me, that's about 6 hours a day. Is that right?
Yep.
6 hours a day. The rest of the day, maybe doing paperwork.
There's no paperwork.
I'm sorry. Doing other stuff, I guess, right?
No, I go to the beach.
Just calls.
That's it.
Calls and go to the beach.
That's it.
Can you offer me a job?
Yeah, come on. I'll set you up an account with Sales Dialers. I bet we can get you a really good deal on
I'll bet so. All right. So here's the one thing that I do at the end of every conference. And you have to excuse me, I've got a little bug. At the every webinar, you've been in the business a long time. You're a trainer, you're a coach, you're a successful real estate agent, you sell life, car, home, everything. You've been in the business a long time, a new agent starting out. What is the one thing that you wish you would have known when you started out in the industry? Just one thing that you wish you would have known that would have made you so much more successful starting out. And how and that one thing it has to be something that the agent has to be something that can turn around maybe a struggling business for them. But the one thing that is going to be a game changer, what is that?
I'm gonna have to give you two. I can't give you one. It's got to be two. Number one, go independent.
Okay.
Don't go with one company, because if you do, if you ever leave that company, they're going to keep all your commissions. So let's say that you have a fairly decent year and you make 60,000, and you decide that there's other companies that are paying double the commission that you're making. Well, that 60 would have been 120 if you would have gone with a different company. Don't go with a captive company. Number one. Number two, and I'm not saying this because we're doing this interview, because this is something that I firmly believe in. Everybody I talk to hears it from me. Use sales dollars, because you're able to call so many people in a 6-hour period of time. I can call about 200 people per hour. I hit about 1,000 calls a day. When I first started selling insurance, we used a rotary dial phone, and I might could hit 50 in one day. 50. You've got to be on some sort of platform that you can call. I'm using a 4-line dialer right now. I'm thinking about moving that up to a 5-line dialer because of the number of people that I need to hit. So number one, go independent. Number two, you've got to get on a calling system. If you're not going to get on a calling system, then you can plan on your income being very low, unless you're a strong closer, which I'm not.
It's a numbers game, isn't it?
Big time numbers game.
Yeah, always has been, always will be. The more people you talk to, the more pitches you get out, the more pitches you get out, the more sales you get.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes,
right.
For sure.
Robert, tell us how people can reach out to you.
My website is my website that has all the websites that I have. Actually, I have 45 websites. The main one is robertjrussellcompanies.com. My telephone number, which is my cell phone, you'll get my cell phone. You can also text me, 972-679-9029. If you are afraid to call me because my personality is kind of strong for you, you can always email me, and I'll butcher you through email. And that is robert@robertjrussell.com.
Okay, so these are for agents that want to, you have a bunch of agents that work for you. So this is maybe an agent starting out who wants to, learn your techniques and tips and get started in the industry. Maybe if they're not successful and they haven't been successful, they'll reach out to you as far as training and things like that.
I do have a series of videos that I made on YouTube. It's called Selling Life Insurance Over the Phone. I lay out my whole system from start to finish. One of my big topics is using a phone dialer, where I'm able to call 200 calls an hour. Watch that video. It's 32 videos. If you call me after 2 videos and you ask me to talk to you, I'm going to say, did you watch all the videos? If you say no, I'm going to say, perfect. Go back and finish all the videos, then call me, because it lays out my entire system.
Cool.
Selling life insurance over the phone.
Awesome, Robert. So, Robert, I just want to say thank you for being on the show, and
you bet.
And we really appreciate having you. We're going to have you on the real estate side, which we'll do, and great info today on life, and I loved hearing you talk, and so I appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
All right, Robert. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.